Number 11 there is Hans Otto Pingel, and we look across for Michael Lee, seeking to salvage something from a season of disappointment. Former World Speedway champion, number 14. On the outside of him there is Zdeněk Kundra from Czechoslovakia, another familiar figure in British Speedway. Heat 6, Betzel, Kochevan, Pingel, Keček, Lee, Kundra from the inside, reading out the green light on, away they go. And it's Lee, indeed, who makes the jump from wide on the outside and coming hard up on the inside. It's Christoph Betzel. And these were the two we rather felt might carve up heat number 6. Lee had a somewhat disappointing opening ride. It clashed with one of the West Germans, left him back in 3rd place. And he really is flying here in heat 6, though. Here's a battle for the minor places between the two Yugoslavs. But there is Lee, and Lee really is stretching them. And he's back in 2nd place, and there is Michael Lee. He's on a new prototype Czechoslovakian Jawa engine, and it does look very, very quick indeed. Just look at him go, absolutely streamlined, 100 mile an hour around this 1,000 meter, very well prepared Gornja Radgona track in northern Yugoslavia. Lee absolutely taking them apart here in heat 6, really has settled well. Remember, no Englishman has ever won this world long track title, but Michael Lee, after all the heartbreak, after all the disappointments and indeed the controversy of his 1981 Speedway season, looks very much at home here on Yugoslavian shell. In 2nd place it is Christoph Betzel. We rather reckon that he won his opening ride. Remember, it's 5 points for a win and so on down the line, and no score for a last place. Betzel's 2nd, and there's a bit of a battle going on for 3rd place, and there goes Zdeněk Kundra almost collecting the boards, and that's allowed the German Pingel through. We'll see just on the line. I think he's going to get up. There he goes over the line. So it's Lee who collects 5 points, and that must be good for him. Heat 7 could be an important one. We have George Gilgenreiner there, one of the always menacing West Germans. Another German there, Joseph Aigner, Ivan Major, the old warhorse, 6 times World Speedway champion, 3 times winner of this championship. And on the outside, Peter Collins, of course, the Englishman, highest ever placed Englishman, 3rd in 1978. So Heat 7, Major, a man who's talked about retirement, would love to go out on a high note. He's from the outside there. Collins is on the outside. Who's going to make the jump? Away they go, and it's Collins from the outside. Gilgenreiner's got a good start too, and so has Aigner. And Major is locking back onto the line as they go across into the first 2 corners, levelling out. It's Gilgenreiner in 1st place. Aigner is 2nd, and Major is making his big run down the inside. And there's some terrible trouble, and Major and Aigner have picked each other up. Keček has taken to the infield to avoid the carnage, and that really was a bad one, a horrendous one for Ivan Major, down and clearly in trouble. Here we can see Bruce Pennell, the World Speedway champion in the British contingent, clearly distressed by Ivan Major. Ivan in a great deal of pain. Heat 9, Michael Lee with 8 points, looking for the necessary to qualify for the 2nd semi-final here. He'll be on the inside. He's got a German, Wilhelm Duden. There he is, number 9. Next to him, Karl Mayer, the reigning champion. Hasn't been happy so far, 3 points only. A Yugoslav, Lado Kochevan. Next to him, George Hack. And on the outside, perhaps his main danger, Anders Michanek, a former holder of this crown, and of course, the 1974 World Speedway champion. Heat 9, Michael Lee on the inside, looking for points. Looks like Lee, and Lee almost propelled himself into the first corner. Lee and Michanek together. Lee on the inside, Michanek on the outside, back in 3rd place there. It looks as though it's George Hack, but Michael Lee really is going like a steam train. Well, here is Lee in front, and he really is stretching Michanek. And this is good news for the lanky, gawky East Anglian from Cambridge, of course, rides with Kings Lynn. Not much of him, and though he's a tall lad, he's only about 8 stone. And of course, weight distribution so important in this form of speedway racing, where it's all about speed and it's all about really streamlining, and Michael Lee is doing it to perfection right now. A win here will carry Lee into the semi-finals. We have 2 semi-finals. The point system still applies as it does in the final, and Michael Lee is absolutely in top form. And a disappointing season as the world individual champion, stripped of his golden helmet, in trouble and controversy, and had a bit of a flop, really, to be honest, at Wembley. And that's all behind him now, as he really burns up the Yugoslavian shell. Really a touch of the old Pioneer dirt track style there as he goes roaring across the line to win Heat 9. Second was Michenex, third was George Hackett. That will take Michael Lee into the semis. He looks very composed about it. And so the second semi-final, Michael Lee again looking for points. Have a look on the inside there. We have Phil Collins. He's done well. The young Craig the Heath rider in his first World Long Track climber, number 16. Here he stands. We remember him at Reading. And as Micheneck, Michael Lee on the outside, Aigner miraculously recovered from that pile-up with Ivan Major, Lee impatient, number 14, remember. We haven't got Major in this race because obviously with his ankle injuries he couldn't take his place at the start. So Lee on the second from outside made a good start. So too has Micheneck, and so too has Aigner. But it's Micheneck who leads it, and Lee around the outside, Micheneck on the inside, Lee on the outside, and now the battle really is on. And can Michael Lee find the horsepower? Can he find the legs to go by Micheneck? And I think he can, and that's a beautiful action picture. Oh, really beautiful. Michael Lee stretched open the throttle, and this clearly is a potent piece of Jawa machinery that Michael Lee is sitting upon. Michenex in second place, and third it's Phil Collins. That's a good placing for the young Cheshire rider. Thinking around the inside there, Phil Collins won his semi-final. Lee had to struggle a bit to qualify. Even struggling here in Yugoslavia. Battle for the minor placings there is Micheneck and Collins. But this should take Michael Lee into the final, although he still will have some work to do because that rather disappointing opening ride when he dropped some points means that he isn't going to qualify as the top scorer. We have the West German Betzel already through on 19 points, and Lee is going to join him there. He will only have 18 points if he stays this way. Hasn't made a mistake apart from that first ride, and not making a mistake here. Here he is, poetry in motion. He wins it. Second place is Micheneck. Third is Phil Collins. A good ride again. Are we looking at the first Englishman to take the World Long Track title? So the crowd settled for the final. Remember, Lee it is. There's Micheneck. He's on 16 points. Betzel is the man on 19 points. That is Michael Lee's danger. We've got Egon Muller on number 17. George Gilgen-Reiner on 15. He's a danger. Michael Lee has 18 points. Must beat Betzel. And on the outside, it's Phil Collins. Number 16. So Lee, second from outside, and he really must head home. Christoph Betzel, who's second from the inside. The final, the 1981 World 1,000 metre Championship, and they're impatient, and away they go, and it's a very even break, and Betzel has been left. That's good news for Lee. Lee leads it, although coming into the corner, it is Gilgen-Reiner who gets his nose in front, and Lee now must really find something special. Gilgen-Reiner leads it. Betzel's at the back. That's good news for the East Anglian. It is looking as though it's Micheneck in third place, but Gilgen-Reiner leads, and now Michael Lee again must open the throttle and find the horsepower, and it looks as though he's going to do just that. And Gilgen-Reiner looks for him in that flying figure. Looks like a flying hairpin. But my word, Ian, travelling more than somewhat. Look at him go. Just squeezed by. Micheneck still far from out of contention, but Michael Lee has gone around the outside of Gilgen-Reiner. Betzel's way at the back, and this looks as though it's going to be successful. Michael Lee, and England's only Speedway World Champion of 1981. There's a bit of a turn up for the book, but Michael Lee has reigned supreme this afternoon. He's gated well, he's come from the back. He really is on a flying machine, and he's set and kicking on now to become the first Englishman to win the World 1,000 metre Championship, and that really, in continental terms, is the equivalent of an English cyclist winning the Tour de France. It's a marvellous achievement for Mike. Looking back, clearly in command. Over the line, here he goes. Michael Lee it is, who gathers the title and salvages a great deal from what has been a terrible season for him. Yugoslav crowd stream home. They've seen the West German domination of this title absolutely taken apart by this man, Michael Lee, in the traditional victory bumps of a World Speedway Champion.